Assalamu alaikum. So when I was young, I sought inspiration in someone who was my grandfather, an army man, a doctor, an author, very accomplished. And used to ask him, and he used to tell me a lot about how do you define heroes. So the definition that he gave me of heroes, when I was very, very young, and this is the late 80s or 90s early, and that's when he told me that heroes are people who are very strong, they're fearless, they're brave, they break stereotypes, matches with the topic. They're change makers, and they're passionate. They're very, very passionate, they have a lot of energy. So I started as a young kid, started looking for people who fit into that definition. And as for some of you or most of you, these are the people I too seek inspiration in. I thought these are the kind of people who are heroes. Now reality hits when you come in an educational environment or a professional environment where you start looking for real people who could match the category of people I showed you in the previous slide. Very hard to find real people. So, in my experiences, the types I found who had pretty much the same ingredient of all that was taught to me when I was a kid were the types who we call entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are people with small businesses with big dreams. They're people who change things. They're people who break and make things. They're people I live in. And they are the people who many, many years ago I decided I'm going to equate in my mind as heroes. Now, when I decided I'm going to do that, this is back in 2012, when the first step to any entrepreneurial ecosystem to build or establish, you need to have startup incubators. 4 walls, nicely colored walls with bean bags and all of the things you see in Google offices and stuff. Nothing of that sort existed. An environment where some crazy kids could sit down and work and not worry about problems. Just create products, create things that could change the world. That's what entrepreneurs do, and they do it in places called incubators. So I was lucky enough to be part of those incubators, that in one initiative that kind of kick-started everything. But before I go to that, I wanted you to understand and agree with me with one key word that kind of decides for an entrepreneur what he or she would do. The basic word that you can resonate with an entrepreneur is what? Idea. Now, I was resonating entrepreneurs with heroes, and entrepreneurs resonate the word idea with entrepreneurship. So I had to create a link between heroes and ideas. A implies B, B implies C, so A implies C as well, and that's what I was trying to do. So here's a model that I came up with after understanding a lot of entrepreneurs and how I saw them similar to leaders. Now, I don't want you, and this looks like a bullseye, right? So this is the bullseye for entrepreneurs. But you have to look at it backwards, not from I to an A, but from an A to an I. The analysis, self-analysis, self-assessment is the foundation. It's the foundation of focus. It's the bullseye of focus for any entrepreneur. So this applies on real heroes too. This applies on leaders as well. But what is self-assessment? Self-assessment is being real with yourself, knowing who you really are, knowing what you're passionate about, knowing that one thing that you would do anything for, no matter what, even if failures come by or whatever, or if there's criticism, whatever it may be, but you are sure of what you want to sell, you are sure of what you want to be known for, you are sure of what your dreams are going to be. That's analysis of self. Now move to the next step. I'm going to move to the E now. E is energy. Once you're really sure of who you are and what you want to do, you become focused. You know exactly what you want, so all of your energies also become focused. You let the extra baggage go. You let your distractions go. You just focus. You just keep hitting at that point where you want to make that one big hole. Now move to the D. D is disruption. D is action. D is creating value. D is creating a product. D is delivering a service. Disruption. And if you disrupt, definitely you will have impact. So I now want you to go to that Monday morning where you see this extraordinary film on a weekend and you come back and say, Monday morning, 9 a.m., I'm going to change the world. It ain't going to happen that way. I'm going to have impact. It ain't going to happen that way. You have to go back to the basic. From self-assessment to creating that energy, to creating disruption, and hence impact. This formula is what all entrepreneurs always follow. So let me go back to 2012 when there were hardly any startup incubators. I was lucky enough to be part of a team that built the first incubator, played my little role in it, and I am telling you, we were called the crazy ones. No one understood it, even in my family. When I had to explain for 15 minutes what I do. So my father and mother sitting to me talking to me, you've been doing something for a while, you go to work and you're also getting a salary or something. What do you do? So I say, I work in an incubator. So what is an incubator? We taught you, we sent you to FAST. You did a degree in IT. Then you went abroad, you did an MBA. Why are you working in a hospital? So it's very hard for me to explain to people what I do. Imagine what entrepreneurs went through when people would ask them, you have an MBA, wear a nice tie and a suit, go work in a fancy bank or an MNC. Why are you creating that little app that will sell juices or boots or whatever? It was very hard for people to understand it. Anyway, long story short, while we were criticized for what we were doing, made fun of, no incubators in 2012. Today, as I speak, 25 plus incubators across all 4 provinces, lots of startups, over 150 odd startups coming up every year from within Pakistan, over 100 plus investors investing in companies in Pakistan. Pakistan now has an entrepreneurial ecosystem, just like any other top country in the world. So if it's all so nice, why am I speaking here? Now there's a problem. The problem was that because I talked about acceptance, we started living in our own little world. We thought because of the few entrepreneurs that we make who speak in English, who write Facebook posts and tweet and stuff, we've changed Pakistan. But when I went on to travel across the country in 2014 and speak to people, literally no one knew what entrepreneurs really do, what startups really are. So the problem identified in 2014 was, despite 2 years of work, there is no one as such, even 5% of people beyond 5%, don't understand what I do and what we do, what this ecosystem is all about. Means we have to make entrepreneurs mainstream. Now, how do I make my heroes? Remember, heroes equals entrepreneurs for me since day one. And I did not know how to make them heroes anymore because only a small segment of society knew them. So that was one big problem. The other big problem was, having had good connections and all that, I was lucky enough to speak to some of the richest folks in the world, in Pakistan, and also Pakistanis abroad who had the money and the intent to invest in companies. But you know what used to happen? Every time I'd go to a rich man called an angel investor, he or she would start comparing an investment of 2 crore rupees in 2 kids with an idea to a 2-canal plot in defense. There can't be any map there, right? So there was no ecosystem. I agreed. There has to be a method in which I need to bring both of these entities to mainstream. Now, how do I do that? One fine day, thanks to my mother who watches this channel that makes these funny TV dramas, I was watching a drama. I had to. My mother was very upset. I was trying to build my relationship with her back again. I had to go through that terror of 50 minutes of advertisements and some really average acting. I have to be diplomatic at TED, so very average acting. And after a few months, I saw those 2 people, the stars, having lots of fans on social media. They were doing advertisements. And that taught me something, end of 2014. That taught me the power of media. Something I knew nothing about. I knew nothing about camera. I knew nothing about media. I knew nothing about all of this. And I figured, if media can make such average people heroes, what about the real heroes who are working day in, day out to build their lives of their families, and also serving this country? Why is it that no one's showing them on television? So a revelation came and I said, come what may, I am going to make a TV show. I knew nothing about cameras, I repeat. So that's how the story started of a TV show. So I'm going to be quick on this. What you see here is actually the prettiest photoshopped version of my first pilot. This was the best part of the set. I could not possibly show you the other part of the set. And this was self-funded. So one of the channels finally agreed after me trying a lot to convince them, okay, go do a pilot. show us a pilot, but you have to pay for the pilot yourself. So I paid for my pilot myself. I got fake actors to come sit there, and I started talking about technology with them. No one saw the pilot. Not even the CEO of the channel. No one. So it was a flop. Clearly didn't work. And the story never ends there. Then I used all of my possible connections with the government and everything, and I went to the top CEOs, the top chairmen of the top media houses of this country. I just wanted to tell you one incident where I spoke to this really successful chairman of a channel, owner of a channel, and he kept listening to my pitch. I showed a presentation, just like most of you do. I talked about startups and investors and yoga and voga and blah, blah, blah. And he kept looking at me as if I am from Mars. And he kept leaning on his chair further down. And I could clearly see I missed him completely. And then he says, stop. He says, I love your passion. I love the noviceness in you. But on TV, these things don't sell. On television, music sells. On television, sports sells. On television, politics sells. On television, sensationalism sells. You're trying to make some kids talk to investors and they'll give money to them. Come on, forget about it. I have a bigger idea for you. Let me make you an overnight star. How about you do Pakistan's first matrimonial show? You'll be a star, buddy. Every nook and corner, aunts and uncles will know you. You'll walk into halls, people will want pictures with you. And don't worry about the money. The money's going to come as well. I never took that offer. And I'll tell you later why. I'll explain why. There are other channels I went to and they also had their own offerings. Somebody wanted to make me sit and fight, put a fight between 3 political parties. You know how that happens. That's easy. Then some of them wanted me to do a game show. Now I can't beat the veterans of game shows in this country, right? So couldn't possibly do that. And lots of interesting offers because they thought I want to be on TV. No, I did not want to be on TV. Anyway, long story short, 5 rejections. 5 rejections. 1.5 years of constant traveling from Lahore to Karachi, because Karachi is the hub for all this, and lots of other things that I can't mention here. But a lot of effort and constant rejections. And imagine being a Lahori, going to Karachi and not being served tea or water. I mean, that's a big event, right? You don't even meet me, or if you meet me even for 2 minutes, you don't even offer me water or tea. I mean, that's more offensive than rejecting me, being a Lahori. Anyway, moving on to better times, something happened. And we made a show. A channel agreed to give me a set. A channel agreed to put 12 big cameras on me. Imagine 12 cameras. Imagine, it's not even funny. I had 1 camera from my pilot. I had 12 cameras now, I had so many lights, and I had a makeup artist. I mean, this is such a cool thing to have, So all of those things are very new for me. So 2014 to 2016, I reached a stage where I was able to pull off a show. And when the show went on air, more trouble came up. People just didn't get it. I was called a cartoon. So a lot of people started comparing me with the weirdest people. I don't want to mention who, but a lot of people termed me as the worst anchor on Pakistani television. So true. I agree. I wasn't anchoring, I was just showcasing stars. And a lot of people said it's all fake. So there was so much that happened in social media. But that's what I want you to know here. It's all about handling the bad times. That is the time when you have to keep your head down and just keep at it. Just keep at it. We went on to do season 2. We had no sponsors as such in season 1. In season 2, when we went on to do season 2, we had over 40 sponsors. Our time of the show from 41 minutes had to be reduced to 37 minutes because we had so many ads to play. And the same people had different opinions now. Now, all of a sudden, I was a hero in the entrepreneurial community. Every university I went to, kids wanted a selfie. Now, it sounds nice and cozy, right? But that's not the point. When you are doing well, people join you. Lots of them. Some pictures I could put up, some I can't. Let me tell you a bit about the impact of the show. How many times have you seen in Pakistan 10 crore rupees raised on a TV show? How many times have you seen in Pakistan 12 crore rupees raised on a TV show? And raised by people from very ordinary households with great ideas. All I did was I merged the two industries, people with money and people with ideas. I brought them both on television. When I brought them both on television, magic happened. There was more acceptance for entrepreneurs in their households because they had become TV stars. They were being seen on television, they were being watched on Facebook. And investors who wanted some recognition for the money they're spending and the risk they're taking got all of that on television. So I played on that front. 50 plus startups showcased, 108 cities is where this show was watched, about 7 countries is where the show was watched. Millions of people now follow the show, and I'm happy to tell you that Pakistan's first business reality show now has gone international, and we're shooting 6 episodes, some in Russia with their business show and some in US with their business show. In less than 1.5 years, the magic has happened, right? That's good, don't you think? Yeah? But I don't quite want to talk a lot about that impact. It's going to go away. Everything that shines goes away. It goes away. It will go away. That's not what I'm doing this for. This picture is very important to me. So if you notice, I am the one taking the selfie here. Lots of people who know in our community know of me, so they would meet me, and I'm very happy that they do. But these 2 kids, once I parked my car in the parking lot of Liberty Market, and these 2 kids came running, they were selling tickets. And they said, "We're your fans." And I was very surprised. I said, "I don't quite do anything on TV, and so much of English on the show as well. How do you understand it?" And they're like, "You won't believe this, but we live in a small town called Shadra, a few kilometers away outside of Lahore. And we have this little town where the houses, but they don't have television. So there's television in one house out of 15, 20 houses. So every Saturday, 7 p.m., when your show goes on air, 20 to 30 boys, girls, families collect in one house to watch that show, 1 hour of silence. And after 8 p.m., we all discuss ideas. We make fun of you. Sometimes we clap for you. And you have made us dream again." That's the best comment I have received in so many years of all the work I've done. So this picture holds a lot of value to me. I thought I'd share it with you as well. So, 2 questions before I close this now. Had I started worrying about being judged or the fear of failing, I would not have done this. I mean, this is what I really wanted to do. And there's so much more that I want to do. And I will continue doing this no matter what anyone says. And things just will keep happening now, considering the ball's rolling. So, to ask you the same question, do you fear being judged or failing? And that's where I want to tell you that there is a formula to fight this. The formula is literally a triangle that I follow. Trust me, I follow. I don't do this because it's a TED talk. Reflect. When you self-reflect, the importance of why becomes more than what, when, and how. Why do I want to be on TV? Now, here's my answer for not doing a matrimonial show and being a bigger star. I did not want to be on TV to do that. The why was very clear. So reflection helps you decide the why. And that leads you to exactly purely focusing on a certain area that you want to work on and excel. And if you keep that spirit high, if your fear of failure goes away, nothing can stop you from winning. It means nothing can stop you from executing. And when you execute, things happen. The magic happens. And that's the formula that I want you to remember. Pakistan's startup ecosystem, my little haven, looks something like this. About 220 million people in Pakistan and about 60 million mobile phone users. Any entrepreneur sitting here, I know it's very stupid math, but just imagine 60 million smartphone users you have in your own country. If you make an app which sells grocery or something, and you charge a rupee to each of them, that's 60 million rupees a month, buddy. I know it's very crude math, but just imagine the potential of our country. Our country, our startup ecosystem, the venture capital financing has increased by 400%. That's huge. That's bigger than India in the past few years. Despite all the terrorism, despite all the corruption and all the negativity. Imagine, this is who we are. This is Pakistan, 150 plus startups. being produced every year by our, this isn't moving, so if this moves, yeah, so that's 92. 92 is our country code, and that's what I want all of you to see. All of the work that I am flaunting right now, imagine the red line in this 92 is the startup ecosystem. The black part is media. I have hardly disrupted anything yet. How I look at myself in my life is there's so much of white there that still needs work. How will I contribute to that white? And that's the question I want you to ask yourself. How will you contribute to the white? I have chosen education as the next big stop, the next big challenge. I am going to have lots of fun failing again now in this new space. So next time if we ever meet again, I'll have stories of failure to tell you in education. That's the place I have chosen for my next disruption, for my next breaking of stereotypes to happen. I close by saying one thing that my grandfather taught me. He taught me that never downscale your dreams because people think you can't do it. Because had they known better, they would have done it by now. Thank you very much.